I want to talk about the trauma of our parents, right? So if you were born between 1946 and 1980, I'm going to mention you a lot, but I'm also going to mention all the things you don't bring up, and why there's this great vast disconnect between, you know, the black radicals and who we are today, right? And it's because of mass murder, pretty much. So the baby boomers, anybody born between or before like the mid 1950s, they were young adults or teenagers when MLK and Malcolm were assassinated. They saw the Black Panther Party get dismantled. They saw how radical leaders were killed or imprisoned. They many chose silence as a survival mechanism, keeping their politics private and focusing on education, economics, and social climbing instead of direct resistance. Some embraced black respectability politics, believing that protesting loudly only brought danger, because if you could shoot MLK, you could shoot anybody, right? So they grew up under Coin. We're only going to call them that. We will not type in that whole name. We got to stay safe, right? Destruction of black movements. Right, they saw crack cocaine and mass incarceration devastate their communities, leading them to focus on personal survival rather than political organizing. Some even inherited this paranoia from their parents, while others tuned out completely from it, right? By contrast, anybody born between 1985 and 1995, or even Gen Z, we didn't grow up with the same experience with Coin or direct assassinations of black leaders, right? Obama would have been shot historically. Right? Like LeBron would have been shot historically. Right? And it would just being for real. This is why movements like Black Lives Matter emerged so publicly, because they weren't raised with the same internalized fear. However, older activists still warn about government surveillance, infiltration, and the dangers of being too radical. Infiltration is so serious that the reason why the D9, right, like the Greek organizations, are less effective than they are today, than they were back then, right, is because they were infiltrated by corporations and the government. Right, so most D9 organizations that are Greek are just corporate sponsored activist entities, right? Like, and I'm not saying there's not good people on the inside fighting the good fight, but I am saying it's a good fight in there. So the fear of assassination, infiltration, and systemic destruction of black movements never fully left. It just changed form, right? So it became more covert, unspoken. The paranoia broke for some, especially our generation, right? But for many who lived through the civil rights and black power eras, like, I mean, it was heroic and we got rights, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't going like everybody talks like it. And we're really not that far removed from that time period where they was going crazy like that. So that's why it's just one of those cases where for things like Coin, that's why I'm always so cautious with this kind of thing, and also why black people need to take this situation more seriously. It ain't been that long since they would shoot you in broad daylight. It ain't been that long. Your dad would tell you. You just go missing. On Google, they'll tell you they were even opening your mailbox, staring through your window at night. So, you know, I'll talk about the Cold War era a little more, but there were never Russian spies in America. There were American spies in America.